Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Guy Atchley.
And I'm Valerie Cavazos. Stella Inger is on maternity leave. Tonight, the search for suspected killers who beat a man to death, then shot him. Someone called 911 yesterday morning to report the incident near 7th and Lincoln. Police say it started hours earlier with an altercation that ended in murder. The details unraveling in the case this evening. The woman involved in the altercation is now facing first-degree murder. The men involved in the deadly shooting are wanted by police. 9 Inch Side's Jennifer Martinez spoke exclusively with the grieving mother who is demanding justice.
A memorial now continues to grow here on 7th Ave and Lincoln Street here on the south side. As you can see, there are balloons, flowers, even candles as the family mourns the loss of a son.
My son deserves justice because he was a gift to this world.
Sylvia Guiterres says her heart is broken, and the only thing she wants now is justice for her oldest son, Israel Dominguez Alfaro. Holding back tears, she wants to remember her son as the man that he was, a hard worker with a big heart.
A very loving person, very kind to people, very helpful.
But early Sunday morning, a knock on the door changed her life forever. She learned that her firstborn had been killed.
It was the most horrible experience I have had in my life.
Tucson police say Alfaro and this woman, Alice Puente, were involved in a physical altercation earlier in the day. When Dominguez and his brother were walking in the area of 7th and Lincoln, just blocks away from their home, a blue SUV pulled up next to them. Multiple men and Puente jumped out of the car and a fight began. Investigators say the group then beat Alfaro with a bat, and then someone shot and killed him.
I want them to catch them and put them in jail.
Police arrested 29-year-old Alice Puente with first-degree murder charges and kidnapping. Now, this homicide is still under investigation. If you have any information, you are asked to call the Tucson Police Department. For KGUN 9 on the south side, I'm Jennifer Martinez.
A local man facing federal charges tonight for deceiving women into having sex with him on camera.
41 Action News reporter Andres Gutierrez live downtown tonight. And Andres, we're told there are dozens of victims here, and prosecutors believe there could even be more.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. In this probable cause statement, or indictment rather, they describe prosecutors how this man, Antonio Antoine, carried out this alleged scheme. His method to go ahead and prey on vulnerable women to trick them and then ruin their lives. Federal prosecutors say Mario Antoine used his skills as a photographer to deceive and rape dozens of Kansas City women. 41 Action News obtained this indictment accusing the 33-year-old of posing as a talent manager and photographer for fake porn studios with names like Playboy Asia and Dash Agency. Antoine's double life began in August of 2011 when he allegedly promised to pay his victims tens of thousands of dollars if they performed sex acts with him on camera. The indictment says he even gave his victims forged government documents to make himself look legit. Investigators say Antoine researched the crime by Googling terms like rape by deception and illegal to trick girls into sleeping with you. When the victims told Antoine they hadn't been paid as promised, he allegedly sent the sex videos to their bosses and significant others. This all allegedly happened as Antoine was on probation for prior legal troubles as a wedding photographer. In 2012, the Missouri Attorney General charged Antoine for ripping off a half a dozen brides, including Shailena Heron.
He just only responded when it was convenient for him, and then he would just kind of brush me off. I remember at one point he said, "Well, I'm bankrupt, that's it."
A judge sentenced him to do 5 years of probation. And now, as for these charges, federal prosecutors have asked the judge to deny the bond, and they do believe that there are other victims out there. Law enforcement wants anyone who believes that they may have been victimized by Antoine to go ahead and call the FBI tonight. Reporting live in downtown Kansas City, Andres Gutierrez, 41 Action News.
The murder of a former Marine in Aurora still unsolved. And new tonight, that reward is now up to $50,000. These are the men accused of breaking into the Greenheart marijuana dispensary over Father's Day weekend and killing Travis Mason. Tales tonight, finally a big break in the shooting death of a well-known local chef.
It's a scary world we live in, you know, and I just hope that they catch whoever did it. You know, it was senseless.
This afternoon, we learned two 16-year-olds are now under arrest for the shooting of Nick Lewis. It happened just blocks from his home in Inglewood. He worked at several restaurants, most recently at Blackbird Public.
It's 7:23. Good morning. I'm Samantha Cortese. Just in the KGUN 9 newsroom, DPS confirms one person is dead after a car hit a telephone pole on State Route 80. Happened near Douglas. DPS says the Chrysler 300 went off the road before hitting a pole near Washington Avenue. They say the driver was likely impaired. Big Al has a look at the roads in that area and how can people beat the traffic here. Big Al,
breaking news now. Tulsa police investigating an apparent homicide after passersby find a body alongside the road in Mohawk Park. 2 Works 2 reporter Corey Duke is there with what we know so far.
Well, Karen, we actually just got some new information just minutes ago as police were leaving the scene. They say just up the road here, they found a man with multiple gunshot wounds to his body. Now, that person was found by a couple who was coming here to Mohawk Park trying to see if they could find a wedding venue. They ended up finding this body. Instead, police described the man as Hispanic and in his late 20s. They say they believe he had been dead for a while, possibly shot at around 4:15 today. They say other witnesses in the area heard 12 to 13 gunshots. Right now, there's no official cause of death or an identity for the man. The medical examiner arrived here about 8 o'clock. It took them about an hour to load up the body and leave. Now, this is a developing story, so we'll bring you more information on air, online, and our 2 Works for You app. In Mohawk Park, Corey Duke, 2 Works for You.
Waking up to the news that suicide attackers have killed dozens of police cadets and guards in Pakistan. ISIL says it was behind the carnage at a police academy in the city of Quetta. Armed men stormed the compound overnight as recruits were resting, taking hostages and opening fire. At least 60 people were killed in the attack that only ended when 2 militants blew themselves up and a third was shot dead. Amid conflicting claims of responsibility, authorities blamed Sunni militant group Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, saying its operatives had been receiving instructions from Afghanistan. Quetta has long been regarded as a base for the Afghan Taliban. It's the capital of Baluchistan province where militant violence is rife. Despite questions about how the attackers could have got into a heavily fortified area, local officials say the death toll could have been worse. Terrorists planned for a large number of casualties as around 700 police trainees were in this centre, but due to the prompt operation by our security forces, their plan was not successful. More than 100 people were injured, many of them cadets in a serious condition, meaning the number of dead could yet rise.
Taft, breaking news this morning, a man is behind bars after ramming into a Tulsa police car several times. He then led officers on a pursuit across East Tulsa.
2 Works for You reporter Giselle Puente is live from the Tulsa County Jail. So, Giselle, what can you tell us this morning?
Well, Tanaya, Daniel, just a few minutes ago, a sergeant with the Tulsa Police Department called me back. They said that they released the name of the suspect. Manuel Morales was booked right here at the Tulsa County Jail for 2 felonies, including eluding officers, as well as a misdemeanor for driving under the influence of alcohol. Officers say they responded to the call around 2 o'clock this morning. They said that someone reported a car sitting in an intersection of 51st and Memorial. When police arrived, the driver made obscene gestures to the officer, then backed out his car, hitting the police car a couple of times. He then took off, leading officers on a chase. They went through a Walmart's parking lot and apartment complex, finally ending at a dead end at a hotel's parking lot on 21st and Mingo. Officers say the man refused to comply with officers' commands for several minutes before getting out of the car.
K-9 got out upon seeing the dog barking at him. I believe that gave him some incentive to come out and come back toward the officers.
Police say after the man got out of the car, they arrested him and took him to jail without incident. Now, coming up at 5:30, what officers used to try and slow down the suspect during this pursuit. Reporting in downtown Tulsa, Giselle Puente, 2 Works for You.
20 years ago tonight, St. Pete police in riot gear struggled to control a violent crowd in South St. Pete. A white police officer had just killed an unarmed black man. Well, at a vigil tonight, his brother tells ABC Action News reporter Cameron Polam why he believes nothing has changed.
Each step taken tonight leading back to a memory that left a community broken and a city on the verge of chaos. 1996, the intersection of 18th Avenue South and 16th Street. This is where 18-year-old Tyron Lewis was gunned down in his car by a white St. Pete police officer. Lewis, driving without a license and carrying crack cocaine at the time, was pulled over by police. His death sparked days of riots. The man in this famous photo thinking of his brother 20 years later.
For me and my family, it's like it's 1996 again. Because we got to always keep being reminded of this.
Roderick Pringles keeps most of those reminders in a set of scrapbooks he hardly opens. Investigators say the shooting was justified. The officers cleared. And for Pringles, it marks the start of a pattern of racial tension he sees playing out today.
You got to select few, certain amount of officers that take it above their training and go against everything that they have been trained.
Pringles recognizes it's a complex problem. His Midtown neighborhood still plagued by lack of opportunity and distrust toward police, leading to more confrontations.
It's always justified.
But the dozens marching tonight are paying tribute to Lewis in their own way, and without approval from officials, unofficially renaming the road where Lewis took his last breath. In St. Pete, I'm Cameron Polam, ABC Action News.